Good morning. Are you still okay? So I'm gonna read my story with you. There was a time in September 2008, Dr. Ed and I were in Brunei to launch AIM Global. And 2 days before we went home, we received a news that the Philippines was hit by a super typhoon. I don't know if you're aware of the typhoon Ondoy. Ondoy, yes. During that time, I never really had a clear picture of what is happening in Metro Manila, since there were only local channel on our TV in our hotel. When it was time for us to go home during our flight, that is where I read it all in the news. And you know, the whole of Metro Manila and nearby provinces is submerged in flood water. And I was thinking then, as a small organization, what can a Life Foundation do? What can AIM Global do? So when Doc Ed and I arrived home, I kissed my kids hello and set off immediately with a handful of people with me and went around Metro Manila to more or less assess what we can give and contribute the most affected areas. And I clearly remember it was heartbreaking. The devastation was so huge. Houses have been totally torn and washed out. So many lives have been lost. So many people were on the streets, begging for food, clothing, or anything that you could spare them. And most of them are trying to locate a member of their families, a daughter, a son, a grandfather, who have been separated from them at the height of the typhoon, and at that time, 3 days had passed, and yet they are nowhere to be found. I was so overwhelmed. I went home crying with a very heavy heart. I wasn't able to sleep that night. So, thinking, what will I do and where will I start? The following day, I decided to ask the help of Doc Ed. I have asked him to call for a meeting together with our AIM Global distributors, and we are so happy because there were 300 of our distributors who came. During the meeting, we discussed to our distributors our immediate plan of doing an outreach and medical mission to 3 major different sites in Metro Manila. On that meeting, we did an on-the-spot fundraising in the hope that if we could collect additional funds, we would be able to help more people affected by the calamity. And that time, Doc Ed made a promise to our distributors that whatever amount we will be able to raise, it will be doubled by the company. And guess what? I was so happy. Sandali, hindi niyo pa alam kung magkano I was so happy. You know why? From our distributors alone, for a period of 2 hours, we were able to raise 2.7 million pesos. And as Doc Ed has promised, they doubled it. So I was very, very happy because I have 5.4 million pesos to share. So palakpakan naman po natin yan. So after that, we planned, we prepared, and set off to do our missions in 3 consecutive days, together with 200 AIM Global distributors. On our first day, we went to Pasig area, wherein we shared food and clothing to some 3,000 families. On our second day, we did an outreach and medical mission for some 3,500 families of our AIM Global distributors whom we have identified who were also affected by the calamity. And on our third day, we went out and chose a random community in San Mateo, Rizal. Meron po bang tiga San Mateo, Rizal? Wala naman. Wherein there were around 300 families who took shelter in a dilapidated basketball court with no food to eat, no clean water to drink, slept in makeshift beds made out of cartons, which was most of the time drenched by the unending rain. Towards the end of our outreach, one of our distributors called my attention, and he said, Doktora Connie, meron pong isang pamilya, nandun po sa dulo ng court, meron pong dalawang bata at saka yung nanay nila. Yung bata po, may mga sugat, sabi niya sa akin. He said, Dr. Connie, there are two kids with their mother at the far end of the court. They are sick and they have wounds all over their body. So I decided to put on hold of what I am doing and went to see the family. As I checked on the kids, I noticed several infected wounds on their bodies. But what caught my attention is that both of them had severe cough. So I immediately assessed the kids, and one of them had severe pneumonia. So I talked to the mother, and I told her for the need for her son to be brought to the nearest hospital for immediate proper care and treatment, or else her son would not be able to make it through the night. The mother cried and replied to me, paano ko po yung gagawin? Wala pong natira sa mga gamit namin. Bank book po namin, wala na. ATM namin, wala na. Na-wash out po lahat. Wala po akong kapera-pera. Sabi niya ganyan sa ano, ang asawa ko wala po rito kasi naghahanap siya ng pagkain. So how can I do that? So the mother cried, and that's what her reply to me. After a while, the husband arrived. So I quickly explained again to both of them the situation, and both of them again refused. They hugged each other and cried. They are so afraid knowing what could happen and lose their child, but they said they cannot do it because they don't have the money for the hospitalization. So I decided at that time to convince them to allow me to bring their son to the hospital and take care of the expenses. And I reached out in my pocket and gave them enough money for food and other necessities too. Then we immediately brought the two kids to the nearest hospital, and I assigned one of our distributors to look after them. After 2 hours, the father of the kids called me up and said, Doctor, thank you. My kids are now admitted to the hospital. Thank you for your support. Somehow at the time, I felt relieved knowing at last the kids will be given proper medical attention. In the afternoon, the following day, I received another call from the father. He told me, Doctora, my 5-year-old son is okay, but I would just like to tell you that my 2-year-old son passed away. He died in his mother's arms. I was speechless. The father said, Dr. Connie, thank you. At least my son is now in heaven. He will no longer experience the pains in this world. Thank you for giving him a chance to die not like a pauper. Actually, the proper words, yung as far as I can remember, yung ginamit niyang salita, salamat po dahil hindi niyo pinabayaan na yung anak ko ay mamatay na parang isang busabos. He said, for 5 days we have been living on the streets and we have lost all our belongings. No one helped us. Then suddenly your group came along. You don't even know us, but you came. You came to help us. Even if I lost my son today, I am so grateful to you. At the darkest time of my family, we have met you. You just don't know how this means so much to us. You have given us hope, knowing there is someone like you who cares about people who are suffering. That is more than enough for us to move on. You showed us that there is still hope for me and my family. You know, at that time, when I put down the phone, my world suddenly stopped. I cried and I cried. I was so mad because it was too late for me to save the child's life. The almost 7,000 families we were able to help for the past 3 consecutive days could not give me comfort from my grief. Losing the child's life literally broke my heart. There were so many questions for me at the time. There were so many what ifs. What if I have come sooner? Sana dumating na lang mas maaga. What if I've stayed with a child in the hospital? What if I personally took care and gave treatment to the child? Could I have saved his life? Those thoughts haunted me for days. It kept lingering on my mind. But that particular experience also gave me a different perspective, which inspired me to do more with Alive Foundation, to become more engaging in helping people like the victims of calamities through outreach programs and medical missions. That experience was my niche and my breakthrough with AIM Global. You know, as a medical doctor, my heart has always been for helping people in whatever way I can. And in my chosen profession, these people are what I call patients. When we put up AIM Global 10 years ago, I thought it was totally different ballgame for me. Since the company is all about network marketing, it was all geared towards making our distributors financially free. I didn't know and I didn't see it, that it was the right place for me and my passion as a doctor. However, with the inception of Alive Foundation, the pieces started falling in the right places, and soon it became apparent that the foundation can also be a vehicle for me to pursue my passion. Sometimes, we just don't realize that God ultimately put the pieces of the puzzle for us in a way that we don't understand until we see the whole picture. And so after 10 years now, Alive Foundation has been very aggressive when it comes to helping people from different sectors, including the abandoned elderly, victims of calamity, prisoners, sick and abandoned children, and indigenous tribes. We have even partnered with Red Cross and Operation Smile to even widen our reach, thus helping more people. What we do with the Philippine National Red Cross, we set up quarterly blood donation projects wherein our distributors donate their own blood. And with Operation Smile, so far we were able to sponsor 300 children who underwent surgical repair of the cleft lip and cleft palate. Remember last year? With all the projects and endeavors that we did with Alive Foundation for the past 10 years, it comes with great pride as I say that this was all became possible because of all of you. And today, I want you all to bear this in mind. When you become an active member or distributor of AIM Global, you are not only building your network, but every time you share our business, every time you use or sell our products, a percentage of that sale goes to Alive Foundation. So, when you wake up in the morning and you drink our coffee, how should you feel? Yes, you should feel great. When you take your supplements like C24/7 and Call It Deuce, you should feel good. Yes, when you go to the shower and you use our natural essential soap and our masculine and feminine wash. Yes, fresh and feeling good, right? And when you go out wearing your eye protect, you feel protected, but still you feel great, right? Yes. Why? Because every time that you do all these things that I have mentioned, you are helping someone, somewhere, all over the world. Thus, your effort, however small, is already big for other people. And I can therefore say that all of you distributors of AIM Global all over the world, you are the driving force behind Alive Foundation. Palakpakan naman po ninyo ang inyong mga sarili. And from the bottom of my heart, I thank you. Thank you for your continuously doing our business. Thank you for aligning with the visions and missions of our company. And thank you for continuously sharing our product. Because of you, there is Alive Foundation. Maraming salamat po sa inyo.
Thank you, Dr. Connie. Thank you very much. Ayan, are you proud of our foundation? Are you proud that you are with AIM Global? So every time you buy the product, share the products, a portion of that, percentage of that, goes actually to our foundation. And in turn, it becomes an instrument, a way for us to help a lot of people.